Tracy Bogert, good morning. What is up on a Wednesday, the Ides of December, December 15th? Woo! Woo, woo, woo. Luisa Alanis, Wes Perkins, Hector Gomez, Steve Duraco, the original Rock. What is up, Rocket Man? Spurs game tonight. Chance to win 7 out of 10. Spurs are on fire. Here we go. 3 more days till Christmas break, Wes Perkins. Wow. That's pretty cool. Sam Tobias, what is up? Anthony Del Toro. Good morning, everybody. Here we go. James Rippey, what is up?
Now, Chris Duel.
It is the Ides of December. Midpoint, sort of. December 15th. It's a 31-day month. So I guess midpoint technically will be at 12:30 or 12 o'clock this afternoon. That way it'll be December 15th and a half. Welcome in. It is the Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. The morning after Steph Curry has set the record for most three-point shots in NBA history. One of many things we'll talk about this morning. Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones talking about Dak. We ask you today, what is wrong with the Cowboys offense? We'll get into that. So we'll talk NFL football, college football, as God intended, NBA basketball. San Antonio Spurs in action tonight at home against the Charlotte Hornets. If the Spurs win, they will have won their 7th out of the last 10. I got to go do some math. I don't know if they've won 7 out of 10 in the last 2 or 3 seasons. I got to go look that up. And speaking of the Spurs, the great Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, will join us not only to talk hoops and sports, but he will debut his latest song. Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, what an eclectic show this is. We bring not only sports talk, but music, and we drop music debuts on this show.
All on a National Signing Day, no less, which means over on the Twitterverse, we'll be updating you there to keep up with everything. You sent Dave and I the song last night. We got a sneak preview of the song, and it's a song that he has talked about and discussed on our show before, but it's finally recorded, mixed, the whole 9. So I'm excited for this debut. I almost feel like what some may say like a real radio station, you know, the ones that play music.
Yeah.
We just run our mouths all day. So I'm excited that we have a song to play.
We gotta play more music. So if you're
world
listening,
premiere.
Yes. I mean, if you're listening, if you're a musician, if you're a band, if you got some cool tunes, yeah, we'll play it. Obviously, we love Bill Schoening. We already know he's very, very talented as a singer-songwriter. And what's cool about this song, it is sports related, kind of, sort of. Yeah, definitely sports related. So, yeah, that's going on. That'll be a lot of fun.
Now, Chris, you are wearing a Spurs hat because, as you mentioned, it is a Spurs game day on the Charlotte Hornets. But it's not just any Spurs hat. It is a Santa Spurs hat.
Yes.
It is December 15th, as mentioned. 10-day countdown.
It's getting closer. Yeah.
You feel it?
I'm starting to feel it, but is it as balmy in Austin this morning? I mean, walking into the building, in and out of my car, it feels like September 15th out there. How's the weather where you are?
It is a cool 80 degrees, sir.
A cool 80 degrees.
I think it's supposed to remain that way for about a week.
Crazy. Yeah, I saw some story yesterday across Texas. Temperatures on average have been 10 degrees higher than normal in December, which I'm cool with. I don't like cold weather, so bring it on. I am absolutely happy. But yeah, no, I am feeling it. And you say Christmas is 10 days away. That is true. But I got to ask you, and I got to ask Dave Oehler, when I was a kid, we opened our presents on Christmas Eve, which I always kind of liked. It's like, let me get at these presents sooner, as soon as possible. And yet I would have lots of friends who would open them on Christmas morning. I know both have their virtues. So before we introduce Mr. Dave Oehler, Shannon, growing up in the Sweeney household, do you open the gifts on Christmas Eve or on Christmas morning?
It's a Christmas morning / day scenario. I mean, growing up, I always tried to like convince my parents. In a couple of years, I got it where you could do one present on Christmas Eve. You know, it's like a
That's
teaser.
not bad.
But then you got sent to bed. So if it was something cool, it was like, well, I can't even use it now because Santa's coming. Gotta hop in bed. Gotta make sure that I'm fast asleep so he can come down my chimney and leave me some more gifts. But yeah, we're Christmas Day kind of family for the gift opening.
All right, so Dave Oehler will break the tie. If you're on the live video feed, Dave Oehler today, while I'm wearing a Santa cap, Spurs Santa cap, Shannon's wearing a burnt orange Texas Longhorns warm-up jacket. Dave Oehler wearing his proud St. Louis Blues long sleeve T-shirt, 50th anniversary.
Yes, 50th.
St. Louis Blues long sleeve T-shirt.
2017, I think.
Nice, very, very nice. All right, Dave Oehler, little Davey Oehler as a kid. Christmas Eve, are you opening your gifts, or is it Christmas morning?
Okay, I got to kind of preface this because I probably won't be breaking any ties here, because when I was really young, we'd go to my grandparents' house on Christmas Eve. We opened presents there. And then when we came home, my parents would make us go to bed, and then we'd get up and do it on Christmas Day.
Okay.
As I got older, we did it. We did the same thing. Went to my grandparents' house on Christmas Eve, opened presents there. Then when we came home, let's say, hey, it's late. Let's just open our presents now. So we'd open them on. I guess it was after midnight. So
okay.
So I guess it would be Christmas Day.
But no, but still, it's nighttime. It's still you haven't gone to sleep yet. So I think midnight-ish on Christmas Eve is still Christmas Eve. But no, as you had the best of both worlds as a kid. So you'd go to grandparents' house and you'd have a Christmas gift opening extravaganza on Christmas Eve.
Right.
And then you'd have another one the next morning. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was always a lot of fun.
Wow.
See, I've got the opposite. We do like Christmas Day, and then we have Christmas number 2 with my mom's side of the family the day after Christmas.
Yes.
So the fun continues.
Because my dad's side, that was my dad's side on Christmas Eve, and then my mom's side was Christmas Day, and they'd come over and bring stuff for us too.
Got to get them all in.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, one more question, and I swear to God, we'll talk sports. Yay or nay on eggnog? Shannon, eggnog. Good, bad, indifferent?
No.
Just say no to eggnog.
I don't care if it's alcoholic or not. No, absolutely disgusting.
See, that was when I was a kid, my mom would put rum in the eggnog. So I'd be like an 11-year-old going, whoa, this has a kick to it. I like me some eggnog. Dave Oehler, have you ever been an eggnog kind of guy?
I've tried it so many times and I just can't keep it down. You just ruined perfectly good rum by putting it in eggnog. I love rum, but not in eggnog.
How did eggnog ever get created? Somebody said, hey, man, let's create this new drink and we'll just drink it for the holidays.
That's the only way people will drink it.
It's eggnog.
The non-alcoholic stuff is horrible. And so you got to put eggnog or if you put rum in it, then everybody's hammered. You say, hey, this is pretty good.
Just to make it bearable. Like pour some rum in there. Let's just make it bearable so we can drink this crap. So I kind of like eggnog. And maybe the rum, maybe it was my early foray into alcohol as a child that gave me an appreciation for eggnog. All right. Lots to talk about today on a Spurs game day / game night. A lot of angst surrounding the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott. We will get into that. But Shannon, I guess the big news in the world of sports last night, finally, Steph Curry did it. He broke the 3-point shot record. He broke Ray Allen's record. He did it in something like 500 and something fewer games than Ray Allen, which just tells you it's something we already know. The modern NBA game is just about jacking up 3-point shots. So anybody who didn't play in this era like Ray Allen, who is in second place, like Reggie Miller, who is in third place, like Vince Carter, who's in sixth place, who played in much of his career in another era. So, Shannon, I'm just – this record, most three-point shots ever. In baseball, you got the home run record. Chicks dig the long ball. So career home runs is a big deal in baseball. In football, I imagine touchdown passes, Tom Brady, that's a big deal. How impressed are you by Steph Curry's new record? He is the new king, and I got a feeling this is going to last a long, long time because he still puts them up at a high volume. So this record's just going to grow and grow and grow. Is this a big deal to you? Are you impressed with the new king of the three-point shot, Steph Curry?
Yes, I'm impressed. I've been a Steph Curry fan ever since he kind of blew up with the Warriors. I just think he's fun to watch. I know that you're not a fan of some of his antics. I find that to be a little bit more playful. This morning, putting in Steph Curry into the search bar on Twitter, I've just been mesmerized by all of the videos. For one, it happened at Madison Square Garden when he broke the record. I mean, how picture perfect is that moment? They're of course playing the Knicks, but everything pauses and he's able to celebrate that moment and take it in. There's video of him in the tunnel after the game with Mr. Money Green, aka your favorite guy, Draymond Green, as well as Andre. And because of Steph's achievement, Steph turned around and gave both of those guys engraved Rolexes.
Oh, how nice.
I mean, so yeah, I'd be happy for him as well, just as a teammate of Steph Curry. And then I didn't obviously watch the game, but Under Armour, much like Nike has done with some of their athletes when a record is broken and they've got an immediate commercial that runs, Under Armour has one with a young Steph Curry and talking about, the release of his shot. And when a shot is a great shot, I mean, he is now considered, and we've got audio of it for us to play a little bit later of, he is the greatest shooter on earth and he deserves it. I mean, he's got the numbers to prove it.
Yeah. And again, and I've always found the chewing on the mouthpiece a little ridiculous. I've always thought that the chest pounding after you make a big 3-point shot or a big play, I always thought the chest pounding was a little bit much. The worst thing he ever did in the NBA finals at Cleveland when Kevin Durant made a game-winning shot. He pretended as if he was relieving himself on the Cleveland Cavaliers court, which I just thought if a middle schooler or a high schooler did that, the coach would run out and grab him by the neck and suspend him from school, I would hope. So those things aside, and yeah, Steph Curry coming into the league was not highly touted. He wasn't a number 1 overall draft pick. Nobody really saw this coming. He's pretty much a self-made man, and he is the guy who kind of started all this. He is the guy who kind of revolutionized 3-point shooting, and then kind of ushered in the NBA era of analytics, where NBA coaches and NBA teams did the math and they said, if we can hit 3-point shots at a pretty good percentage, their value versus the 2-point shot, we're going to score a lot more points. And whether you like it or not, and Coach Greg Popovich said a number of years ago, he hates the 3-point shot because he's a purist in basketball. But he has adapted or tries to adapt. It's hard to keep up with all the 3-point shots teams like the Golden State Warriors are jacking up. Just like I do with Bill Belichick, Shannon, and Nick Saban. I'm a little tired of these guys as successful as they are all the time. I'm a little tired of the Golden State Warriors. I'm a little tired of Steph Curry, but I have to tip my Santa cap and respect him. He has revolutionized the game. I agree with what you just said. He's the best shooter maybe in NBA history. We talk about the greatest players in NBA history, top of the pyramid, Michael Jordan, and then up for debate, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, and others. But I think you could certainly make the argument and probably win it that Steph Curry is the best shooter in NBA history. Yeah,
so you'll give him the one chest beat that he did following that historic 3 last night. You'll give
Yeah,
him that
well,
one.
you know, a historic 3, a game. Yes, when I see that in the third quarter, when it's 68-62, it's like, dude, play basketball. Act like you've been there. The other thing you mentioned, Shannon, which was cool last night, and we do have the audio that we'll play a little bit later of Steph Curry's game-winning three-point shot. Ray Allen, whose record he broke last night, and Reggie Miller, who's in third place on that list. Both Reggie Miller and Ray Allen were there. You got to, kind of love that for the game. You got to love that for Steph Curry. But I think that's very cool on the part of Ray Allen and Reggie Miller. Apparently, they were cheering throughout the night for Steph Curry to tie the record and then break the record. So kudos as well last night to Ray Allen and Reggie Miller. Although, Shannon, I'm still a little bitter about Ray Allen and his three-point shot against the Spurs in Game 6 of the finals in 2013. Not that I can't let it go.
I don't even know that anyone else remembers that shot. I think it's just you, to be honest. I never hear that play call ever.
I have nightmares of that shot. I'm going to let it go.
Yeah, it was awesome that they were there. I mean, they've clearly accepted the fact that this was going to happen, right? And that Steph, with the years he has left, will just demolish the prior record. And, you know, Steph doing the watches for teammates, and now I'm looking at video of him. He gave his dad the ball, the record-breaking ball. Just an awesome moment. And again, for it to happen in Madison Square Garden. They'll make a movie out of this, Chris. This is movie material.
Yeah, there probably will be some Steph Curry movies down the line. Certainly documentaries, 30 for 30s, and who knows, maybe eventually the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry, a big old Last Dance kind of a documentary somewhere down the line. We got lots to talk about all morning long. We'll talk more Steph Curry. We'll talk Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott. Brooklyn Nets, 7 players out of the lineup last night with COVID, including James Harden, including LaMarcus Aldridge. And Steph Curry goes, no big deal, just give me the ball. And the Brooklyn Nets win. COVID rearing its ugly head in the NFL in a big way, in the NBA in a big way, in the NHL in a big way. We'll get into that and a lot more. As we mentioned, Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, he will debut his latest song, which is hot out of the studio and just mixed and ready to drop. We will drop that just after 8 o'clock this morning with Bill Schoening. Coming up, the high five play of the day, 7 o'clock hour, Shannon's Salty Shakedown, sports history, sports birthdays, and more. You are always invited to join us on the phone lines, 800-707-9760, or on the live video feed, Facebook Live. You can comment with us and with others in real time there. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney, Dave Oehler making the show go. Thanks for hanging out with us till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Oh, see, I didn't know that. I didn't see the game, Jason, so Reggie Miller called the game for TNT. So I was giving Reggie props for being there. Reggie was working, apparently. Okay. Thank you for that. Don Holding. It could be expected. Dak going through some tough times. He's coming off a bad injury. He is not as mobile as he was. His work ethic will have him adjusting to his changing skills, and he will be okay. A good quarterback that can lead a team to the Super Bowl. I think you're right. I certainly hope you're right, Don. I just, seems like the Cowboys are just snake bit because they are the Dallas Cowboys. You know, here they were having this great season. Everything was going great. Offense was clicking. Defense was amazing. It still is. And then you lose the 3 out of 4. Dak gets the calf injury. I don't know, man. I need to record a couple of spots here. Let me see if I can bang these out. Jorge, welcome. Yeah, Jorge, I am old school too, as you probably know. I don't know how many more they're going to win, but I mean, they got a great record this year. They could win. They could win a championship this year. Lakers are down. Clippers are down. Although if Kawhi returns, Clippers could get back up. Dave, I'm going to record some spots here. I'm just letting you know. Okay, I got to record some spots. So when I do this, to make it less painful for you, I mute myself. So I'm going to go on mute for just a bit, record these spots, and then hopefully we'll be cool. Let's see. I need to do that. I need to do that. So I'll be off mute here in just a few moments. Do this for just a sec. All right. Let's see here. Do two more. So this is. See if I can do this. Well, let's see. Sam Tobias says as many as he can get. Steph is one of those guys who could be able to carry the team in the playoffs. Yeah. And, they've got Draymond Green. They'll have Klay Thompson coming back. They've got James Wiseman and a lot of those draft picks. The Warriors, when they went down and became a lottery team and then got some draft picks, and now they're healthy again. So now they're trouble once again, which is not good news for the rest of the league. Lucinda Sullivan, good morning. Lucinda is a Indianapolis Colts fan. I've started watching the in-season Hard Knocks of the Colts. It's really good. I didn't know how they would pull it off in season or if it would be good. I really, really like it. I saw a thing last night. I think his name is Kenny Moore, the second defensive back for the Colts. Talks about this relationship that he had with a young boy, a fan who had cancer, and the young fan beat cancer once, and then it came back, and Kenny Moore bonded very, very closely with this young boy and his family, and brought him out onto the field, ran through the tunnel with him. They had footage of that, and then sadly, this young boy passed away. So this player spent Thanksgiving with the family of this young boy. It was really, really moving. It was really, really cool. And you get to really, really like Frank Reich, the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. It's better than I expected. And once again, Hard Knocks rules the world. They're pretty amazing. Let me see here.
Let's get back to the Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. Find Chris and Salty on Twitter at Chris Duel and at Shannon B. Sweeney.
You can tweet at us. We enjoy it. We tend to tweet back at you. Welcome in. It is the Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. Coming up, the high five play of the day. Always very, very fun, and we always enjoy giving out high fives. Just to set the table, if you're just joining us, Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, is going to join us at 8:05. Not only will Bill talk Spurs with us and talk NBA, and we talk all sports with Bill Schoening, but Bill is a singer-songwriter, as you may know, as you should know. Bill has just completed a tune, went into the studio, mixed it, produced it. Sounds amazing. We'll play that for you. It will be the radio debut of the latest song from Bill Schoening, coming up just after 8 o'clock. Shannon's Salty Shakedown in the 7 o'clock hour, along with This Day in Sports History, sports birthdays, and more. Your phone calls along the way, 800-707-9760. And you can join us on the live video feed. Lots of ways to get to it on Facebook Live, Ticket 760 and AM 1300, the Zone's Facebook pages, those Twitter accounts for those radio stations as well. There's a YouTube portal, lots of ways. And you're not only joining us, but joining people from across Texas and around the world. And Shannon, I do see Taro Kotani, the greatest international Spurs fan, joining us from Tokyo, Japan this morning, which is cool. It's kind of cool to have the international audience. And Taro is an international man of mystery, Shannon. So you'll have to. We often, when he's come to the United States 16 times from Tokyo to see the Spurs, we've had him in studio a lot. You're going to have to meet him. He's very, very cool. He's a cool dude.
I'm always game.
He's hoping, with all this crazy COVID and the new variant, who knows? But he's hoping before this season ends. And I think the last regular season game in the NBA is going to be April 15th-ish. He hopes to come back. So hopefully we'll see Taro again in Texas, which is a beautiful thing. It is time for the high five play of the day. We do this every day at this time. We love giving out high fives because it's the right thing to do. Just figure out who is most deserving every day. The high five play of the day is brought to you by, appropriately, High Five, 2 locations in the Austin area. I still haven't asked Shannon about the zombie dodgeball. Maybe we'll talk about that this morning. It's possible. They got great food, great drinks, food specials, drink specials, big screen TVs everywhere, and games. Double-decker bowling, laser tag, zombie dodgeball, axe throwing. It's fun at High Five, and your daddy doesn't even take your T-Bird away. Shannon, who is deserving of a high five this morning?
Today we're giving our high five to the 2-time NBA champion, one Mr. J.R. Smith. Sir, when he was in high school, he originally committed to play basketball at North Carolina, but decided that he would instead commit to the 2004 NBA draft. He went on to have a very long, illustrious career, obviously winning 2 NBA championships. Isn't that bad? And you'd think for someone who focused so heavily on one thing and to reach the pinnacle not once but twice, that not much could feel better than that. He made headlines earlier in the year when he announced that he would not only go to North Carolina A&T University, A&M University, but that he would be playing for the golf team, that he would be a walk-on and play golf. He was cleared by the NCAA to be able to be a participant. He started going to classes. He tweeted about some of his struggles, that there were students taking videos of him. He was just trying to be a regular student. He was staying up late to write papers. He was having to meet with professors for extra help. All the things that a lot of students do end up struggling with, and this being his first time in school in a while after being that great NBA player that he was, it's all very new. Well, yesterday we got an emotional video on social media of one Mr. J.R. Smith with little profanity laced, so we're not going to play it here for you, but he announced that he got a 4.0, sir, this semester.
Wow.
Which for anyone who's been to college, that is not an easy task.
Mm-mm.
So a high five for that. But also just in the video, he expressed how much hard work really does pay off, that it did not come easy, that he's got a learning disability. And so he really had to work extra hard to achieve this. And he says it's all worth it. I mean, the emotion he displayed just on his face in this video, I mean, you would have thought he'd won another NBA championship ring. So congratulations to him on a first college semester complete, but a well-rounded college. I mean, it'll keep him going, right? It's much easier to keep going when you've got something like that. So that's really awesome to see. Congratulations to you, J.R. Smith.
And I think what's so cool about it, Shannon, here's a guy who made a lot of money in the NBA, obviously, as you mentioned, won a couple of championships, and I mean, so many of these guys, they've had it all their whole lives. I mean, they've often been like the man ever since they were the kid, in middle school and even earlier than that. And they've often, had life just go their way. And we've heard so many times about pro athletes when they get out of the league, and a lot of them didn't manage their money well, and things go poorly. For J.R. Smith to do what he's doing, to go back to school and to succeed in a big way and clearly learn the value of his education and to get a 4.0. We talk a lot about how these athletes are role models for others. I hope that, fans of the Cleveland Cavaliers, fans of J.R. Smith, I hope fans are paying attention, and I hope there are young fans who might see he realizes the value of going back to school and getting the degree and doing well, and hopefully that'll be influential on other people. That's a cool and pretty darn unique story in professional sports and the aftermath of professional sports.
It was great. He later tweeted yesterday after the announcement that he had made a 4.0 this semester that he was excited to go pick his kids up from school. So it's a family affair, and I'm just curious. I found what his major is. Do you want to guess what he's getting his degree in?
Wow, I have no idea, but I will guess because he made so much money in the NBA. I will guess it's business related. So let me guess. Accounting or something. So it's something in the business world is my guess.
I like the thought process. He's getting his degree in liberal studies.
Liberal studies.
So that explains all the paper writing he had to do.
Yes.
Kinds of courses. That's a lot of essays. It's a lot of
yeah, a lot of reading as well. Very, very cool. J.R. Smith. Woo! We'll keep an eye on him. That's very, very cool. Another we talk about the high five and who deserves a high five. I started watching, Shannon. Have you started watching yet the HBO Hard Knocks in-season Indianapolis Colts series?
I haven't.
I've
scrolled past it.
Yeah. I just happened the other night. I was like, all right. I was like having dinner in front of my laptop, and I thought, all right, let me just start this because it's Hard Knocks. But it's the first time we've done Hard Knocks in season. And I got to tell you, Hard Knocks strikes again. It is, I'm about 3 or 4 episodes in. There's a lot of human interest stories like Carson Wentz and his wife having the baby and Carson Wentz's family. Obviously Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the NFL. We see a lot of Jonathan Taylor. You learn a lot about him. He's a great guy. The head coach, Frank Reich, you get to learn about him and like him a lot. They go into his past when he had that game with the Buffalo Bills where Jim Kelly was injured, and he brought the Bills from behind, the greatest comeback ever in playoff history against the Houston Oilers. And then I was watching one of the episodes last night, Shannon, and they've got a defensive back on the Indianapolis Colts who I would certainly give a high five to. He is Kenny Moore II. And Kenny Moore developed a relationship with a boy who was a Colts fan named Mason. And Mason had cancer. His name is Mason Garvey, and they called him Mighty Mason Garvey. So Mason had cancer. He beat cancer, but then his cancer came back. And Kenny Moore II, you see this on the HBO Hard Knocks episodes. He befriended Mason. He became a good friend of his. He brought Mason to practices. Mason was on a lot of pain meds one day, and Kenny Moore was injured, but he knew they were going to be introducing the defense out of the tunnel before that Colts game. So he wanted to run out of the tunnel with Mason. And Mason's mom didn't know if Mason could do it because he was on so many pain meds, but he did it. And there's this footage of Kenny Moore running out of the tunnel with Mason that is just powerful and beautiful. And then you find out Mason didn't make it. Mason passed away. So then there's footage this Thanksgiving. Kenny Moore has Thanksgiving dinner at Mason's parents' house. So they're at the dinner table with Mason's parents and Mason's grandparents, and there's Kenny Moore. And I got to tell you, it is just so moving, and you fall in love with Kenny Moore II, and you get to meet his mom. And there's a game when they played the Buccaneers. There's a game where Moore's mom is in the stands with Mason's mom and Mason's dad, and these families have come together because of their love of this boy, Mason. It's way cool. I give it, I think I'm about 4 episodes in. It is as good. And I didn't see this coming. First, I thought Indianapolis Colts, I'm not that big of a fan. In season, they're like 6-6. How good can it be? But they are just nailing the human interest stories in a big way. I give it a big thumbs up. I am loving in-season Hard Knocks with the Indianapolis Colts.
You speak very highly of it. I'll have to check it out. Now, when we watch Hard Knocks in the summer, obviously last year was the Cowboys, but in years prior, I've kind of, because of those human interest stories, you kind of grow a little bit of an affinity for those teams and wish them well in the season. This being in season, Colts currently sitting at 7-6. They are still in the hunt for a playoff spot. Do you feel like you're going to be rooting a little bit more for them in that AFC South? I mean, the Texans out of it, Jaguars out of it, Titans 2 games ahead here. Left on their schedule, the Patriots, the Cardinals, the Raiders, and then the Jaguars. So it's not going to be an easy road for the Colts here.
No. To answer your question, yes. I mean, and this happens in Hard Knocks when you get to know these people. I mean, I knew who Frank Reich was. I was watching that game on TV when he led the Bills back in the playoffs to beat the Houston Oilers. I hated it because I was an Oilers fan and I wanted an old Texas Super Bowl, Oilers versus Cowboys. But yeah, I mean, I have gotten to like Frank Reich a lot. I've gotten to like Carson Wentz. I was lukewarm on Carson Wentz. You get to like Carson Wentz, Jonathan Taylor, their all-world running back, maybe the best running back in the NFL right now. You get to like him a lot. And then just the Kenny Moore, the second story, Shannon, with the boy Mason, that it was so moving. I would love to see this. Now, if the Texans were in it, I'm a Texans fan, I wouldn't feel this. Since the Texans are the Texans this year, I'd love to see the Colts, A, get to the playoffs, and B, make some noise in the playoffs. There's a lot of really good people on that team.
Now, you said you're 4 episodes in. During the summertime version, I think we only get 5 episodes because they do like the week prior to the start of preseason games, and then they do the preseason games and then cut week or whatever. But since this is during the season, should the Colts advance in the playoffs, do you think we'll get more?
It's a great question, and I'm not sure, and I need to look that up. And
you'll feel like you've been left hanging if they just do like through the season and then that
would suck. Yeah, I mean the whole quest is to get to the playoffs and then see what happens in the playoffs. So I hope HBO and Hard Knocks is going to continue to follow them until the season ends. And, we even talked about, Shannon, how a lot of NFL teams didn't want to do this during the season because they didn't want to give access. There was a lot of access. There is a lot of access. I mean, it was really interesting before they played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They went into the defensive coaches sessions with his players, and they're telling him, hit Brady. They're saying, hit him, make it a bad day for him. Even if he gets rid of the ball, hit him, put him on the ground. He's a 44-year-old man. I mean, it was interesting. We know NFL teams and defensive teams are saying this in their meeting rooms before playing Brady. It was interesting to see it and hear it in the regular season. So I sure hope so. I hope they continue with it. But I give it a big recommendation. I thought I'd think it was okay, but I'm a fan. Now I'm really loving this series now.
Well, I think I've got afternoon plans now. Thanks.
There you go.
Sir. And by the way, on Hit Brady, that Brady game, the Bucs end up winning 38-31. Colts did sack them twice, though.
And, as you watch it, the Colts had their opportunities. The Colts could have won that game if they didn't make some mistakes in that game. So HBO Hard Knocks in season with the Indianapolis Colts. Check it out. All right, coming up, let's hear from Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones was asked about Dak Prescott. Is Dak all right? Is Dak in a slump? Is Dak injured? And coming up as well, we will reveal our poll question. Our poll question is about the Dallas Cowboys offense. We will reveal that to you coming up as well. Your phone calls, 800-707-9760. You can join us in the live video feed as well. If you want to join us there, lots of people you can interact with there. Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, going to join us just after 8 o'clock. He will debut his brand new song, hot off the presses. If you say that for music, which I guess you don't, but it's brand new. It just dropped. You're going to like it. Thanks for hanging out with us till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Louisa, to answer your question, you do see Sam Ehlinger on the sideline. He has not yet been featured You see him there, he's mic'd. You see him sometimes there'll be a play on the field. He'll comment. He'll talk to Frank Reich. He'll talk to Carson Wentz. But I mean, he's got such a story, and especially lately, he's been through a lot of personal issues and difficulties. So I hope they do feature Sam Ehlinger on it. But man, it's so good. Good morning, Clint Proctor. Yeah, Ralph Balderas saying Carson Wentz did a similar thing with a child who had cancer in Philadelphia. That was the reason he wore the bracelet, to honor him. Love it when the players go out of their way for kids. Yeah, I mean, and not only for the kids, Ralph, but to see Thanksgiving, Kenny Moore II spending Thanksgiving with his family. It's very cool, very moving. Sam Tobias, when referring to a song, say fresh out of the recording studio or dropping today. Thank you, Sam. I'll work on that. I'm working on my brand new music release protocol. Oh, I need to record. I'm going to pour some coffee, see if it's still hot. I need to record 2 more spots real quick. Give that a shot here. All right. I am going to once again do a quick recording. I got to do 2 of them. They're only 30 seconds. Let's see. I want to hit that. All right. Let's see. Thank you, Sam, for the lesson on fresh off the presses. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. Let's see here. All right. I'm going to mute for your benefit, not mine, because you don't need to hear me recording spots. You don't need that in your life. They're only 30 seconds each. This should be quick. Just letting you know I'm recording a couple more spots, and that should be it for the day. Thanks, man. Okay. So, okay, let me mute. I'll be off mute again in like 2 minutes or less. All right. Got that done. Yeah, Foam Foot 420. I love hearing the spots. Thank you. I might subject you to them next time. Okay, did I save that? Let's do this. Edit. Select. Edit. Copy. Okay, got those. Let me see this. So, Dave, we'll do the Jerry Jones audio here. Probably the Steph Curry three-point shot that you have. And then I see that Shannon's got audio on Steph being the greatest shooter ever. So those three could happen here. I think we'll start Cowboys. Thanks. What a shocker. Foam Foot 420 going to Cowboys Dance Hall again tonight. You are a party animal. Yeah, because I think you actually rested last night. So now you're good till March of 2022, probably. All right, we'll talk Cowboys here. Might get into some more Steph Curry. Okay, Shannon, I just see your message about National Signing Day. We'll get into that as well. Do we have a breaking news sounder? Do we know? Do you have one handy? If not, no big deal. But if you do, what Shannon just put in the private chat, I might just make it a breaking news thing. Okay, so when we come back, I'll set that up. I'll ask for that, and I'll have Shannon go with that news. Here we go. We do have some breaking news involving a pretty high-profile dude. Jason says, "Oh, to be in my 20s again." Yeah. Youth is wasted on the young, Jason. My mom used to always tell me that.
Now, Chris Duel.
Oh, yeah. Lots going on this Wednesday, December 15th, the Ides of December. We're talking Cowboys. We're talking Steph Curry. We're talking NBA COVID outbreaks. And probably between now and 9 o'clock, there's probably going to be a lot more of this. We have coming up on 7:07, which will not only be the time, but a classic jet airliner, 7:07. We've got some breaking news. I just love a breaking news sounder in radio. Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, you've got some breaking news involving the Texas Longhorns.
Sir, it is December 15th of 2021, which means it is early National Signing Day, and the news broke just a few days ago that Quinn Ewers was committed to Texas after decommitting a couple years prior, going to Ohio State, not really feeling it. He has officially signed and is part of the Texas football family. Texas football tweeted that out 6 minutes ago to welcome him. I thought National Signing Day started at 8 a.m., but maybe
that's Eastern.
Start with him,
yeah,
because he is Mr. Quinn Ewers, number 3 for Texas football. Apparently, at least that's what the jersey mock-up they made for him. The official hashtag for Texas football this go round is hashtag 22effect. I guess that's their little slogan. They always come up with something fun. So
what, 22effect?
Socials and yeah.
EFFECT or AFF?
Yeah.
22effect. All right. All right, that's interesting. I mean, I prefer, I prefer old gas, no brakes, sort of,
Well, this is like for signing day. They always create a theme around each year so those kids can feel special.
Yes.
And they're getting some cool graphics. But Quinn Ewers, number 1 of the day for Texas, he is locked in.
See, and now that he's locked in, Marcus Valdez-Pino saying, "OMG, I thought y'all were going to say he changed his mind." See, that's why National Signing Day is important. What if Quinn Ewers said, "Psych, I'm signing with Texas Tech. I just did that to stick it to the Longhorns because I've been mad at you ever since Tom Herman was the head coach." So luckily that didn't happen. So
these are young teenage boys. I mean, they are allowed to change their minds, and a lot of them do. And sometimes when it comes to signing day, they don't go the way that maybe a lot of people thought they would. So it's hopefully going to be a great day for Texas football as well as UTSA football. I haven't seen them announce any signees yet, but they have tweeted that they've got some road runners on the way. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as well.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. And, a lot of times, and while it is a big deal, and some people are hardcore into National Signing Day, for the most part, unless you're a total geek or a Rain Man freak about Quinn Ewers, we've heard of him. He's a big deal. But a lot of these names you will not have heard of throughout the day. Now, if you're a geek, you go, "Ooh, that guy was a top-notch defensive end out of Brazosport. Ooh, he had a great season at Brazosport." I mean, yeah, okay. But what we find, we will pass along. But I got a feeling, Shannon, of all the names we hear this morning, we probably won't recognize any as much as we just recognized the breaking news on Quinn Ewers. And the other thing that you gave us there that I did not know his number. I did not know A, his number, or B, what his number would be for Texas. It is number 3, which first of all, I think is better than number 2, because number 2 reminds me of a former Spur who I am forgiving forever on 2-2-22. I've decided the whole Kawhi Leonard thing, I'm going to let it go. The darkness is not good for my soul. I'm going to let it go on 2-2-20. But until then, Shannon, I am going to hate his guts for another month and a half. But so number 3. So if Quinn Ewers becomes the next Vince Young, the number is 3. The number you're going to see in the stands, on campus, at the HEB, across Texas. People wearing getting them at Academy. Getting them. What's the name of the shop that the Longhorns, the big where they sell all the merchandise? The Co-op. Yeah, we used to have one down here at the Quarry Market in San Antonio. I don't think we do anymore. The Co-op, the University Co-op, the big number, Shannon, number 3. Woo! Get ready.
Right. And we just get another one. Kelvin Banks officially signed. He is offensive tackle. So
offensive tackle.
So it's a good spot to be filled for the Texas program. So they come in a lot faster these days than they used to with the signing. So coming fast. They're coming in hot.
Woo! And we're going to keep an eye on it all morning, and we're going to pass that along to you as soon as we hear it. Any Texas Longhorns, obviously any big news for any other Texas team. Certainly we're big into UTSA on this show, but Texas Aggies, Texas Tech, Baylor, we will be all over it. And if there's anything big that's highly touted by some of the big analysts out there, we'll pass those along to you as well. Shannon, Dak Prescott has been very much in the news. A lot of people, a lot of analysts nationally looking at Dak, looking at his quarterback rating the last 4 games or so, ever since he had the calf injury that took him out for a game. He and the Dallas Cowboys offense have not been productive. You and I talked about this at length yesterday and on Monday, and just the fact that it's so weird. Things are totally flipped. We used to believe coming into the season, certainly, that Cowboys offense was so high octane and loaded with talent, certainly at the skill positions, but plus the offensive line. We thought, all right, they're going to score at least 30 points a game. So the defense that was horrible a year ago, if they can elevate to become mediocre and give up 25 points a game, then the Cowboys could win a bunch of games this year. Well, now the defense is spectacular. Micah Parsons is being compared to Lawrence Taylor and might just be the defensive player of the year. So it is the defense carrying the offense the last several weeks in the NFL. And Shannon, my understanding, Mr. Jerry Jones, who goes on a lot of radio up in the Dallas area, he addressed the Dak Prescott issue yesterday. We'll play some audio here in a second, but how are your thoughts on how Jerry Jones regards Dak Prescott? And Shannon, when Jerry talks about Dak on the radio to the media, do you think Jerry is being honest, or is he being the salesman that he has always been?
I mean, I think he's got to be a salesman a little bit, right? I mean, look at the price tag that is Mr. Dak Prescott, right? I mean, he got what he wanted. He got all that money, and Jerry is the man who gave it to him. So he's got to back him up because he is the franchise quarterback. We talked Hard Knocks during the last segment, and I'm almost surprised that Jerry hasn't joked about a Hard Knocks curse, right? Because they are going to win the divisions. They are going to get in the playoffs. So it's pretty much broken. But if you wanted to add another option to the poll question we've got going on today, that might be just a fun one to throw out. But I think I think it's typical Jerry speak for the most part.
Speaking of the poll question, since you mentioned it before we listen to Jerry, let's put the poll question out there. Our poll question is Cowboys related.
Yes, sir. Asking what is wrong with the Dallas Cowboys offense. Our options today is Dak, just Dak alone. He's currently got 32% of the vote. Zeke, who has had some struggles in the run game, doing a great job blocking, I think, when he's called to do that. He's got 16% of the vote. Injuries at 41% of the votes. That was where mine went, Chris, just because I know Dak hasn't been like really injured during the season, but I think some lingering of just missed practice time with teammates and the offensive line injuries that we've had, and having Amari Cooper be out as well as CeeDee Lamb with that concussion. I think just kind of the mix and matching that they've had to do with the offense, it's hard to get some cohesiveness going. So hopefully that'll come together in the last couple of games of the season. And then 9% of the vote going to coaching and play calling.
And that injury category, I should have altered it to say injury/COVID, because obviously the Amari Cooper, when they lost 3 out of 4, I think they could have won 1 or 2 of them had they had Amari Cooper in that lineup. Some of those were so tight down the stretch that another weapon, a really good weapon like Amari Cooper in that offense when he was out for COVID protocols, that would have. So when you see that injury choice, COVID is one of them. All right, we just talked about it. Let's listen in a little bit to Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones on radio in Dallas yesterday talking about Dak Prescott.
Oh, I don't want to say that slump, but that's probably fair. But it's such a faceted evaluation. Now, he missed a lot of time in training camp, and he missed a lot of time early with that calf injury. And some say, well, his mechanics are off a little bit. His feet and his motion aren't quite where they ought to be. I hear all that. And by the way, that's discussed. But is there merit to it? I don't think so. I think just as he's had to his entire career, he will get in, he will figure it out. That's the key thing here.
Jerry Jones talking about Dak Prescott. It was interesting, Shannon, he listed all of the things that we talk about, and then he said, there's really not merit to that. But I mean, he went through the litany of issues that as observers, and it's not just us, a lot of national analysts as well are pointing to. But I mean, Jerry Jones, he's invested all those gazillions of dollars into Dak Prescott. I don't think he could, even if he believed it, I don't think he could say, we got some issues with Dak we're going to have to work out. So a fairly diplomatic answer there by Jerry Jones.
Yeah, and I think, coming off of that Washington game, obviously it was a win. So, but Dak's play, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, rating of 58.8, and his completion percentage second lowest of the season at just 56% and 211 yards. So statistically, last weekend was, one of his worst, if not second to worst game of the season thus far. So I think right now it's a little bit more glaring. But when you look at it as a whole, I mean, it hasn't been that awful. I mean, he's definitely had games where he stood out so much more and as far as like fantastic play. Thrown a little bit more interceptions this year. He's 24-10 in the TD interceptions ratio. But some analysts, I feel like, it's like the sky is falling narrative, and I'm not there quite yet. There's something definitely up, as Jerry says, a slump perhaps, but I don't think it's something that can't be turned around.
I was listening before we come on the air to the national shows, 2 Pros and a Cup of Joe, and a lot of talk there about the Cowboys this morning, and they were talking about how the Cowboys are still a very legitimate contender to get the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. Shannon, you and I went through it yesterday. The Cowboys are a game behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Green Bay Packers, and the Arizona Cardinals. But I think, as you and I discussed yesterday, you have to look no further than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers final schedule, because the Buccaneers beat the Cowboys on opening night. The Buccaneers would win a head-to-head tiebreaker with the Cowboys. So the Cowboys would have to win out, and the Buccaneers would have to lose 2 games for the Cowboys to catch them, because the Cowboys are a game behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as we mentioned yesterday, the final 4 games for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are home against the Saints, at the Panthers, at the Jets, and home against the Panthers. Those final 3, at the Panthers, home against the Panthers, and at the Jets, I mean, it will be earth-shaking if they lost any of those three. Saints have kind of had their number, but again, these Saints and playing in Tampa this weekend, I don't think Tampa's going to lose another game. Maybe they trip and lose one. I can't imagine they lose two. So I truly don't. If the Cowboys run the table, and I hope they do, I hope they get ready and are ready to go for the playoffs. I still can't see them getting the number one overall seed because I can't see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers losing two more games.
Yeah, it's a little bit out of the Cowboys' hands. I mean, obviously, continue to get those wins to get yourself as close as you can because you never know. It is the NFL. But just the Packers, too, who are also sitting at 10-3, they've got left on their schedule the Ravens, the Browns, the Vikings, and the Lions. I wouldn't be surprised if they win 3 out of 4 of those, if not all 4 of those with the way they're playing right now.
And again, with the 17-game season and only one by best team in each conference, NFC and AFC, that number one position, whoever gets it in each conference, I mean, it's so huge. And especially in the NFC where you've got so much talent. I mean, just the top teams that you mentioned, Packers, Cardinals, Buccaneers, and Cowboys. Then you add in the Rams. The 49ers are on the rise. To not have to play an extra game, to be able to stay, to get the first weekend of the playoffs off after a 17-game season, to heal and let everybody else beat themselves up in an 18th game. I just think whoever gets it in each conference, it's a huge advantage. And it might be shaping up, Shannon. It could be Buccaneers get it in the NFC, Patriots get it in the AFC. The road to the Super Bowl in the NFC could go through Tampa Bay. In the AFC, it could go through New England. We've talked about it already, and I'm just putting it out there. We could get our Tom Brady versus Bill Belichick Super Bowl. And, of course, my first choice is Cowboys in the Super Bowl. But if you could give me a Belichick versus Brady, I mean, my God, that would be unbelievable.
I don't know who I would even be okay with winning that Super Bowl.
Brady.
Like, I almost want to say the Bucks, but I just, I don't want that to happen, Chris. I don't want that to happen.
Why are you so anti-Brady? Why just get on the love train? I used to hate Brady, but now I'm on. I enjoy him. He's fun. I'm on the love train. By the way, Hard Knocks at the very end of the game, Brady goes up to Kenny Moore II, the guy I told you about, who had the relationship with Mason, who went through the bout with cancer, and Tom Brady goes up to Kenny Moore II and says, "Great job. You're playing great." And he even said a few things to let you know that Tom Brady knew who he was, and how long he had been in the league. So, I mean, the more I watch Tom Brady, the more I watch his videos, the more I watch little moments like that. Tom Brady giving respect to an opponent, a defensive back after the game, taking the time to have a moment with him. I am on the Tom Brady love train. We need the OJs to sing Love Train. I am all aboard the Tom Brady love train.
It's annoying that he's also a good person. Once he's retired, I will be on the love train of Tom Brady. But right now, I'm tired of it.
And he's married to a supermodel, Giselle. And apparently Giselle in the news about her relationship with Tom Brady as well. Is that correct?
Saying she wasn't excited about football. She thought football was very boring prior to getting involved with Tom Brady. I read that and I thought, do you mean like football? Because I know a lot of people have that sentiment, right?
Yeah.
But probably not, given that she's from Brazil, and that's kind of a big deal down there, and pretty exciting stuff if you've ever watched any of those games. So, but obviously she had to get on that train because she's at plenty of games, has appeared at plenty of Super Bowls, but it does make it a little bit more funny when you think about some of the recent championships that he has won, and she's like, "Is this enough? What more do you need?" That we get those clips, and it's like, oh, because she's like tired of this too, just like we all are.
Yeah, and it's interesting, back when Tom Brady was with the Patriots just a couple of years ago, Giselle was outspoken about, she said Tom has had a couple of concussions that you didn't know about and that weren't reported. Obviously, when you start getting concussions, I mean, so many players, including Roger Staubach. Roger, his final season, had a couple of concussions, and his wife, Marianne, they had kids. They made the decision. I love football. Roger was at the top of his game. He was about 37, 38 years old, but decided to retire when he still could have played. Yeah, I watched that game against your Buffalo Bills on Sunday night or Monday night, Shannon, and Brady twice, and Bruce Arians said the S word. He says, you got to knock that S off, Tom. Stop it. Tom Brady at 44 a couple of times tucking the football and running for the first down, and once almost taking on a linebacker, which is insane. You look at Tom Brady, and truly, especially at his age, Shannon, he's one hit away. If he gets hit and gets a concussion and gets a major concussion, not only he, but I would think Giselle, for the sake of her family and their kids, would say, dude, you're 44. This is it. So, yeah, I mean, every play you watch with Tom Brady, I was stunned that he ran with the ball at least twice against the Bills like he did.
And given that, he's gambling with every play, right? Because no one of all the people in the NFL, obviously none of them want to have to end their career because of an injury or because of something like a concussion and having one too many. But Tom Brady, of all people, I don't think he'd ever get over it if he had to end his career because of an injury and even worse, an injury that was a concussion due to him trying to run for a first down, which he's not known for doing.
Neil Cole on Facebook Live says, I agree with Shannon. I am so tired of Tom Brady. So yeah, Shannon, you were probably in the majority on that. But yeah, to your point on he would hate it if he had to end it because of concussions. And he's so close. He's on a team now that just won a Super Bowl that is in the mix and could win another one and could win two more. We don't know. So yeah, it's one thing to be on a team that's, floundering. He's on one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL. Quick break coming up. Shannon's Salty Shakedown. This one might be a little extra salty on a Wednesday, the Ides of December. This day in sports history, sports birthdays. Then at the top of the hour, just after 8 o'clock, on a game day, game night, as the Spurs take on the Charlotte Hornets tonight, Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, will not only talk Spurs, we will play his brand new song, which drops today on radio. Only a few people have heard it. Bill's heard it. Shannon's heard it. Dave's heard it. I've heard it. I think that's about it. Maybe Tom Brady's heard it because Tom Brady's, can do whatever he wants. He hears everything. Quick break. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for hanging out with us till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Marcus Valdespino says, root for the Colts this Saturday. Yeah, Marcus, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I'm watching the HBO Hard Knocks thing on the Colts, and you will wind up rooting for the Colts if you watch that thing. It makes a lot of personalities on that Colts team who are very, very likable. Yeah, I don't have ESPN Plus, Tom. I mean, I pay for so many streaming services, and I just, when it came to ESPN Plus, it's like I get so much sports info across the internet and multiple platforms for free. When ESPN did that, and when they'll put something like as their top stories, and you go, oh, that's interesting. Let me click on it. They go, oh, that's ESPN Plus. You got to pay to get that. I just became a little angry. Tom, maybe I'll come over to your place and watch Man in the Arena. I'd love to see it. I just don't want to pay ESPN Plus. Chris, I haven't yet. I think you said it was Willie Anderson. I'm kind of remembering it, and I didn't get the cassette yet, which I have. But what Chris is talking about, there was a video and an audio cassette that was released. I bought mine at North Star Mall. It was called It's That Christmas Time of Year, and it was a video and song by David Robinson, Terry Cummings, who produced it and sang in it, Sean Elliott, and a fourth Spur, who my memory, Chris helped me out, I think It was Willie Anderson. But I do have to run that down. And I'm shocked. I looked for that on YouTube. I'm shocked somebody in all these years hasn't uploaded that onto YouTube. All right, I'm going to heat my coffee. I had some dreams. They were clouds in my coffee. Clouds in my coffee. And you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? So, I've never been to Graceland. I've never been to Hawaii. And I've been to Burger Boy on St. Mary Street like a million years ago, but it's been so long. I almost feel like Dylan Emery, who is, I think, a big Burger Boy guy. He has these stickers in here. So, little Burger Boy for you. All right. Axel J. Miller, I'm sick of Denver. The temperature is 48 degrees. My temperature is 101.3. Oh, Axel. Sorry, man. I hope you feel better. Make sure it's not the Rona. One of the symptoms of the Rona is the temperature. Hope you're okay. Take care of yourself. All right. Mike Taylor to sit in for a moment. Going to heat up my coffee. I'll be right back. Make sure I've got my stuff ready to go. Yeah, Axel, keep an eye on it. If you lose your smell or your taste, you might want to be proactive. Be right back. Thank you, Mike Taylor, and the Mike Taylor dancers. Let's get Mike in the shot there. Yeah, and back to the coronavirus for a sec. I mean, you just look at all these sports teams. 37 players in the NFL yesterday reported. 7 of the Brooklyn Nets out yesterday. It's raging through the NHL. So, I mean, obviously, those are athletes. Obviously, the rest of us have to be very, very careful. I just saw the message. So, Shannon, if you can hear me, we'll do that as breaking news right when we come back. We might hit that breaking news sounder again here right as we come back. I'll ask for it if you can grab it. So, yeah, Shannon, we'll do that as breaking news, what you just shared with us.
Back to the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney.
Yeah, it's not just Wednesday, the Ides of December. So much going on in sports, NFL, college football, NBA, college hoops. But as we've been telling you, it is National Signing Day. Half an hour ago, Shannon with the breaking news, Quinn Ewers made it official and has signed with the Texas Longhorns. And Dave Oehler, I think we have more breaking news. Yes, the breaking news sounder, Shannon Salty Sweeney. What is the latest breaking news on National Signing Day?
UTSA is up and running on National Signing Day. They announced their first official signee. It is quarterback Diego Tello out of Austin, Texas. He was high school's quarterback. He is heading down to San Antonio to take part in what has become a pretty electric atmosphere in the Roadrunners. Birds up, Mr. Jeff Traylor. He could be the next Frank Harris. Who knows?
Now, what can you tell us about Bowie High School? Is it a powerhouse? Are they good? What about them?
I wouldn't call them a powerhouse, but as far as like across the board with their sports, they're usually a pretty rough team to beat, especially when it comes to football. I just from my experience, they were in our division growing up in high school, and I think they still are, and they're always a tough matchup. So I think he's going to be a good get. And
most importantly, Shannon, a cool name, Diego Tello. I mean, it's not like Bob Smith. And if there's a Bob Smith listening, Bob, nothing personal, but I mean, come on. Diego Tello, that's cool. Yeah. That's a cool name.
QBDT.
Yes. Woo. Diego Tello. So again, though, my favorite quarterback name, and I guess I am biased, but even if I weren't, freshman quarterback this year for USC, Jackson Dart. I mean, that if you were going to write a screenplay, the quarterback, your college quarterback in your screenplay might be Jackson Dart. He throws darts. He's Jackson Dart.
He was born for this.
Woo! But Diego Tello is pretty cool. All right. Diego Tello, welcome to UTSA. We are keeping an eye on all of the National Signing Day signings. So when we see something of note, we will pass it along, especially if it involves the Longhorns, the UTSA Roadrunners. We're also keeping an eye on the Aggies, the Baylor Bears, Texas Tech, SMU. Especially if you're a Texas team, and maybe the Evil Empire. We'll keep an eye on Nick Saban in Alabama, maybe even as well. All right, coming up, Shannon's Salty Shakedown with some extra salt on this Wednesday, the Ides of March. Before we get to it, how about some sports birthdays? And this day in sports history. On this day in 1935, the NFL championship game was played at the University of Detroit Stadium, and the Detroit Lions beat the New York Giants 26-7. So the Detroit Lions, who in our lifetimes are just a hapless god-awful football team, they did win a championship, and they won it on this day in 1935 against the Giants. On this day in 1980, the New York Yankees signed Dave Winfield to the biggest contract in baseball history in 1980. 10 years, $15 million. I mean, Carlos Correa wants 10 years, $400 million. In 1980, Dave Winfield, 10 years, $15 million. Times have changed. On this day in 1982, Bill Parcells becomes the 12th head coach of the New York Giants. That kind of worked out for the Giants and for the Tuna, Bill Parcells. And finally, on this day in 2019, the Oakland Raiders played their final NFL game in Oakland. They conceded 17 unanswered points in the second half, and they fell to the Jacksonville Jaguars 20-16. They would never play in Oakland again. They would be off to Las Vegas. That's your sports history. I got 3 sports birthdays. Born on this day in 1899, Harold Abrahams, a British Olympian. He won Olympic gold in the 100-meter. He won silver in the 4x100 meter in 1924. You might say, who is Harold Abrahams? He was depicted in the Academy Award-winning film Chariots of Fire in 1981. A very cool movie with an amazing soundtrack by Vangelis, Chariots of Fire. Harold Abrahams was born in Bedford, England in 1899. He died in 1978. Born on this day in 1940, NFL linebacker Nick Bonacani of the Miami Dolphins back in the day. He was a sportscaster as well on HBO's Inside the NFL for many years. Nick Bonacani was born in Springfield, Massachusetts. He passed away in 2019. Finally, born on this day in 1946, baseball infielder and manager with the Houston Astros. He would later manage with the Oakland A's and the New York Mets. Art Howe, born on this day in 1946 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Those are your sports birthdays and your sports history. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, countrymen, especially pole assassins and monkeys, here it is, your Wednesday Ides of December Salty Shakedown.
Well, we'll save the best for last, Chris, with yet another pole assassin update for you. But to kick things off, I want to start with Netflix. 'Tis the season to be sitting on your couch and taking in all things on-demand television, whether it be like Chris, who's watching the current Hard Knocks season with the Colts, or like myself, who yesterday started taking in the 20-somethings Netflix reality series, which follows some 20-somethings who move into Austin and live on the east side for a couple months.
Cool.
It's not high-quality television, but I like trying to point out the places in Austin while they film them. But Netflix did drop the trailer yesterday for something you and I talked about a while back, Chris, when the announcement was made that a movie about Sean Payton's 2012 season, in which he was suspended following Bountygate, was being turned into a movie for his time when he went to coach his 6th grade son's team. Said movie has now been filmed. The trailer has been dropped. It stars Kevin James. People still don't get it. And the internet, of course, did what the internet does and began bashing it yesterday because, it doesn't look super high quality. Some people, funnily, made some fun jokes. One person said, if you lose your fantasy league, your punishment is watching this film. They also talk about how obviously Kevin James doesn't really look anything like Sean Payton. He just looks like Kevin James because they didn't really make him do anything different to himself other than put on the signature visor that one Sean Payton tends to wear. Also in this film is one Taylor Lautner, most known for the Twilight series as I think the werewolf. Jackie Sanders and Rob Schneider. If you do want to check out the trailer, we do have it on the Chris Duel Show, a blog page on both Ticket 760 and 13 on the Zone. You're welcome to go check that out. Chris, it drops on January 28th. about a month after we get the Kurt Warner film, which is also kind of received outside negative views. We'll talk to James Allen on Friday, who got an advanced screening, so maybe he can talk it up. But what are your thoughts on this one? To me, this seems like some background noise kind of television.
It does. I will watch it out of morbid curiosity just because, I'm a fan of the NFL and Sean Payton, certainly on my radar. Again, though, as you mentioned, the casting. If I'm Sean Payton's a pretty good-looking guy, I will say.
Super defamation.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin James, kind of frumpy, kind of, dumpy. I don't know. I don't get the casting at all. However, I will be on board for the Sean Payton movie in January, and I think it drops Christmas Day. And we look forward tomorrow to talking to James Allen about the Kurt Warner movie. I did look at the trailer to the Kurt Warner movie on YouTube. I think it looks pretty good. I love the Kurt Warner story. It's one of my favorite stories ever in the NFL. Looks hideous.
All I can think of is, why is Shazam wearing a Los Angeles Rams uniform? Why is he wearing a Rams uniform? I don't get it.
Shazam. I don't
That's
get the
guy.
Shazam.
The lead is Shazam, which is a pretty fantastic film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it.
That's just my immediate take from the trailer on it.
It's your issue.
That, and just visually, it does not look very appealing. But I will take it in. Maybe not on Christmas Day, but at some point over my little vacation I've got coming up. All right, Chris, I do have a sweet story today.
Okay.
Because we did give the high five to one J.R. Smith. So I wanted to shout out Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas spends most of his time in Florida when he's not playing on tour, specifically down on Riviera Beach. And it's the holiday season, and we've seen a lot of stories of athletes giving just to give out the goodness of their heart, to help out friends, family, communities, and neighbors. And Justin Thomas, no different. He helped out the Riviera Beach Boys and Girls Club. That club provides gifts for the kids that are part of that community, as well as the teenagers. But the issue this year, was that they had enough toys for kids, but for the teenagers, they didn't have enough stuff that teenagers would go for, right? They just didn't have it. So they almost had to say, okay, well, we can't give it to some kids and not others. So teenagers almost didn't get gifts until Justin Thomas and his family came through. They provided gift cards for these kids, and they went and passed them out to them and talked about their smiling faces, so that those kids could then turn around and use those gift cards to actually buy something that they really wanted. If you're a teen, if you've ever been a teen, I think a lot of us have, that cash is always great, right?
Yes.
Because then you can really go out and get what you wanted. I thought it was great. Justin Thomas was asked about the experience. He says, look, it's a thrill playing on tour and sinking that putt, winning a championship. But doing something like this, it's a different kind of great feeling. It's a feeling of having a pit in your stomach, and that feeling of almost wanting to cry around every turn of happy tears, just because it was such a fulfilling experience. So I wanted to shout him out during the Salty Shakedown. And Chris, are you ready for it? Because here we have another Pole Assassin update.
Oh, I love Pole Assassin updates. Please. I've been waiting all morning for this. Yes.
If you follow me on Twitter at Shannon B. Sweeney, you will have seen this already. I found it yesterday while randomly scrolling. I did not search for anything. Just looked like an early Christmas gift. Just fell right into my lap, and I went ahead and shared it with the people. But sir, this is the story that just keeps giving, and the story that just won't go away. I guess it depends how you view it to pick a side here. I love both sides. As a Texas fan, it is a little embarrassing, but I've got to give props to an Aggie in College Station who has turned this story of the monkey biting the child, Coach Jeff Banks, Pole Assassin. They've turned it into a Christmas display, sir, and they're calling it the North Pole Assassin. If you were to visit College Station and to drive by this gentleman's house, you will see the display, for which, let me pull it up now on my phone so I make sure I give the most accurate representation of what's going on. They've got, and this is kind of cool too, because in order to create a Jeff Banks, they have a little mannequin sitting in a chair, and he's wearing a Texas jacket, which means they had to get a Texas jacket in order to do so. So they're always thinking about us, those Aggies. And a lovely little coach's hat. He's got on a headset because that's what coaches wear during games, whether they're using them or not. I have a theory that some coaches just wear them to look the part. Next to Jeff Banks is a blow-up monkey in a Santa suit because it wouldn't be the story without the monkey. Then it's just a weird light display. And then next to both said monkey and the mannequin Jeff Banks, another mannequin dressed in like stripper elf attire with a
stripper
holding
elf
on
attire.
Holding on to a giant candy cane, aka pole, to create the full and festive North Pole assassin display in College Station. Listen, I tweeted at this gentleman. I said, listen, props to you. I can't. This is just funny. Touche. He wished me a Merry Christmas, so I went ahead and wished him the same.
Nice.
Listen, I think it's funny. I know a lot of people might be upset by it, but I'm here for it, Chris. I'm okay with this kind of poking fun.
Brilliantly creative to take the whole pole assassin saga with the monkey and turn it into a Christmas display in your front yard. Even if you're a hardcore Longhorn fan, you got to laugh at this, and I'm glad that you find it very funny. James Allen, by the way, of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, says Shannon giving an Aggie a shout out. Wow! So there you go. Aggie Nation is proud of you, Shannon.
Thank you. He also wants me to say something else that I'm not ready to say yet out loud that Aggies are known for saying. Sorry, James. Sorry to disappoint. I can only do so much.
Maybe on tomorrow's show, James, you can talk her into that.
I think I've maxed out on my Aggie love for a day, so I'll go ahead and end it here. That's today's Salty Shakedown.
Outstanding Salty Shakedown. We love my pole assassin and monkey updates. Now, James Allen, who will join us tomorrow on the show. He joins us on, I'm assuming he is. James, I hope you're available. He joins us most Thursdays on the show. But he said, let me scroll. He said, Shannon, and you said the trailer was hideous. I disagree. He said the Kurt Warner movie is amazing. We'll learn more about it from him tomorrow on the show at about same time as Bill's going to be on today, just after 8 o'clock. But James Allen, who has seen the Kurt Warner movie with his review, he says it's amazing. Woo!
Chris, at my most pretentious, I'll try and be here. I am a graduate of the University of Texas Radio, Television, and Film School. Okay,
Ooh,
Movie
nice.
College of Communications, same one where Mr. Wes Anderson and some guy named Matthew McConaughey also graduated. So I think I know a good film and a bad film when I see one. I'm going to go ahead and say that this Kurt Warner one not going to be so good.
Wow. So you haven't even seen it yet. No, you haven't even seen it yet. And James Allen did see it, and James Allen is proclaiming it is outstanding. But all right, well, we shall discuss it tomorrow. But will you watch it, though, as a radio, television, film graduate from the University of Texas? Will you watch it just out of morbid curiosity, even if you expect it to be god-awful?
I'll probably watch it as a sports fan more so than as a moviegoer.
Yeah.
Do we know, is it like theaters only? Am I going to have to?
Christmas Day, at the moment, theaters only. I'm already thinking, so I'm thinking on Christmas Day, probably most people, because as you know, my family does Christmas Eve, Shannon. So I'm usually free on Christmas Day. I am so excited about this movie. It may be my Christmas Day 2 p.m. activity. I may go see the Kurt Warner movie based on the recommendation of James Allen. So I may have a review.
And be merry, sir.
Woo, yeah. So there's that. So I gotta go back for a second. I love the monkey Christmas display. Again, go to Shannon's Twitter page if you want to see it, at Shannon B. Sweeney. She retweeted it out. It is there in all of its joyous, festive holiday glory. So check that out. Speaking of festive holiday glory, Shannon, coming up, Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, is going to drop and debut his latest song right here on this very radio program. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it's our very own Christmas gift.
Woo,
from
that's right.
Bill Schoening. I do want to ask him though if he's got like a Christmas Carol or something up his sleeve.
Shannon, we need to lobby. Bill needs to work on it. I know, Christmas is 10 days away, but for next year, the Bill Schoening Christmas album. And on one of the songs, you and I should be background singers, or on the whole thing, you, me, and Dave should be his Pips. Bill Schoening and the Pips.
Yeah. I do
is that copyrighted by
Bill.
Gladys Knight? Yeah. And then Bill will take it on, he'll do some live performances, and we'll do our little Pip dance moves in the background and do our little background vocals. We'll pitch the idea to him. See if we can be Pips for Bill Schoening.
I mean, you and I are used to being in studios. I think we feel very at home.
True. Very, very. We could do like a documentary, like Get Back, on the making of the Bill Schoening Christmas album.
I mean, it's writing itself.
We'll do it on Disney Plus. Bill Schoening is next on the Chris Duel Show. Bill and the Shonettes. There you go, James Allen. The Shonettes. I like that a lot. I gotta pitch that to Bill Schoening. All right. Let's see. I have to edit a couple of more spots. I recorded them earlier. Now I got to edit them. Let me see here. I did that one. I got 2 more of these. Whoops. All right, one more here. And this one I screwed up on, so I gotta fix it. But where is it? Let's see. There are precious diamonds in all shapes and all sizes. Go see for yourself. Closer to here. Not good.
Hey, Chris. On Bill's song, I'm tuning it up. It has like about almost a 30-second intro to it. So
Yeah, let's play the whole thing. Yo, yeah, absolutely. I want to play the whole thing. Yeah.
I was just going to cue it up to where he starts singing.
No, let's play the whole thing. Yeah, we're dropping a song, so I don't want to. Now he might. Yeah, he could be offended if we cut some of it off.
But you could talk over that intro. It's 20 seconds.
I want the full experience.
You don't want to walk on the music.
I don't want to walk on the greatness that is. It's like walking on the Beatles, man. That would be like walking on Hey Jude, the beginning of Hey Jude. This could be bigger than Hey Jude. Okay, that'll work. Oh, let's see. Oh my goodness, there's a lot. Ah. Oh, look at that. Steve Duraco, Billy and the Stats. I like that a lot. James Allen, Wild Bill and the Texas Trio. Dean, thank you for the nice hat reference. It's my very special Spurs Santa hat. Here, let's see. I need to send this. Okay. Bill Schoening moments away. Dave Oehler on the phone line with Bill.
Bill's ready.
Thank you, sir. Bill Schoening and the tacos. Could be a good Taco Tuesday idea. Warren Wheeler, good morning. Hey, Warren. Dean, I see what you did there. Stash and the Gang. Like Cool and the Gang. Only Bill's got the big old mustache. Stash and the Gang. Some really good ideas. Billy and the Stats is very good. As is Bill and the Shonettes. The Shonettes. That sounds like a thing. Can you? I will ask Bill that question, Axel. Do the Spurs have an identity yet? They do. They're a 7 out of 10 identity, and they're back. Axel, Spurs are back. It is a Wednesday. It is the Ides of December 15th. 10 days away from Christmas, 9 days, single digits away from Christmas Eve on a Spurs game night / game day. Welcome in. I like to let the Doors and Mr. Mojo Rison finish the intro music. Welcome in. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. On Wednesdays, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening, is kind enough to join us. We especially appreciate it on a game day as the Spurs take on the Charlotte Hornets tonight at the AT&T Center. 7:30 tip-off, pregame 7 o'clock on 1200 WOAI and the Spurs Radio Network with Bill Schoening, and a chance for the Spurs to win 7 out of 10 if they can win this one tonight. Bill Schoening, how are you doing this morning?
Very good, Chris. Ready to rock and roll.
And we will rock and roll, Bill, in a big way before you're done. I think we're going to kind of hold it for a few minutes as a tease for our listeners. Shannon and I and Dave Oehler, we've been talking about it all morning. In just a few moments, we will debut on the radio a Bill Schoening song, newly produced and created. Should be pretty cool.
I think you're probably overbuilding this a little bit, maybe overhyping it just a tad, but we had some fun when we went to the studio and did that. It's actually from 7 years ago. I wrote the song, but I never got a chance to go in the studio and do it, so we kind of did it up. My producer, Nick Bulworth's a good guy, so yeah, that'll be later in the show, I guess. But yeah, it's always fun to create something different, you know, some new music and work with other musicians and come up with something. This is a completely different kind of a novelty song.
Any truth, Bill, to the rumors that director Peter Jackson, when you were in studio recording this song, shot a documentary, and when you guys were done, you did a rooftop concert for this song? Was that true?
No rooftop concert, no Beatles thing going on. No. I don't know anybody named Yoko. None of that's going on. I don't know any artists. Just basketball right now for me. But every once in a while on an off day, I'll be able to go in the studio and work on a couple of tunes.
Bill, the Spurs have been stringing together a couple of wins as of late. They take on the Charlotte Hornets tonight. LaMelo Ball, after being out due to COVID protocols, is back in the lineup for Charlotte. How do you see this one going down?
Well, I'm not sure if he's back in the lineup or not, because the latest report I saw from the NBA Media Central injury reports is that he is out. So unless there's an update on, yep, that's
well, and I heard a third one. I heard that he's back, but he's going to the G League for a couple of games. So we've heard 3 separate stories there, Bill. So who knows?
From the media relations department of Charlotte is that he is not with the team. Now that doesn't mean that he can't join the team today. But the latest report I saw is he is out. They had 4 players under COVID protocol, including Ish Smith and Mason Plumlee. Now Plumlee is listed as questionable. So those guys have been assigned to the Greensboro Swarm of the G League just to get a practice in. So I'm not sure how long they're going to stay with that team or just to work out. You remember when Jakob Poeltl went through health and safety protocols, it took him a few games to get back in condition. So he has been cleared to play. That part is true. But whether or not he's going to be back in the starting lineup tonight is a question mark because, like I said, the last report I saw that was updated this morning from NBA Media Central, which gets directly from the Charlotte Media Relations office, is that he was not with the team.
Well, and Bill, you mentioned 4 players with the Charlotte Hornets with COVID protocol issues. I know last night the Brooklyn Nets had 7 players, including James Harden and LaMarcus Aldridge, on health and safety protocols. I mean, across multiple sports now, Bill, the NBA, I know the Chicago Bulls have had all kinds of problems. I think they've postponed a couple of games. You're seeing this in the NFL. There were 37 players on one day a couple of days ago in the NFL reported with COVID issues. NHL's having problems. This may be starting to, we went through this not long ago. It's deja vu all over again, but certainly an issue now we have to pay close attention to in the NBA.
Yeah, it's a shame because we really thought we were at the tail end of this, right, Chris? I mean, I thought that we maybe had put this behind us and we're moving on, but clearly not with all these different incidents coming up. And, from a personal standpoint, the Spurs media has not been traveling this year as an extra precaution, and we've been remotely broadcasting the road games. And, we get it done, it's fine. But I think all of us kind of miss getting out on the road and seeing these different cities. But, last year when the travel was prohibited, it wasn't too bad because it was like, well, if you're going to travel, you're going to have to stay in the hotel anyway. So, what's the point of going to San Francisco if you got to sit in the hotel room the whole time, right? Or just eat it in the hotel and not get out and see some of the great restaurants and some of the sites in San Francisco. So we were all kind of hoping that this was behind us, but clearly it's not.
Bill, I'm looking at news right now, and there's a lot of trade talks as we kind of enter trade seasons, and seeing some headlines that say the Spurs could be both part of giving and receiving when it comes to trades. Is there anything you're hearing specifically that Spurs fans might need to be prepared for?
No, I really don't. Point now, there might be, if a good trade falls into their lap and that they see that it's a beneficial thing for them for the future, that they might act on that. But I'd be surprised at this point if we see any movement.
Well, and to that point as well, Bill, I look at this Spurs team, and we've talked about it all year. Early in the season, there were a lot of close games against a lot of really good NBA teams that the Spurs would fight hard for 4 quarters. They would often go down to the wire. They would be theirs for the taking. And then, for whatever the reason, in some of those games, the Spurs came up short. And as we talked about with you, the team was learning because they're so young, and the youngest Greg Popovich coached Spurs team yet. They're looking for a way to learn how to close games. And it seems to me, Bill, lately they've been doing that in a big way, most notably a number of days ago at Golden State when they beat the Warriors on their floor. And again, as I mentioned, Bill, if they win tonight, they will have won 7 out of 10. It seems to me, as we think about maybe considering trade possibilities, it seems to me that whatever the Spurs are doing is really starting to work and pay dividends now as this team is starting to play much better together. Certainly lately, DeJounte Murray and Derek White have been really playing very, very well at starting guard.
Yeah, Derek White has really come on strong, which is really good to see. The other night against New Orleans, he had 9 of 17 shots. He finished with 24 points. And not only that, he had a season-high 9 assists. He grabbed 8 rebounds, tied a season-high with 4 steals. And he was part of the reason why the Spurs were able to pull away in the fourth quarter as well. The Spurs outscored the Pelicans 29-15 in that fourth quarter. And I think that the defense and certainly the way that they're rebounding the ball right now, they want to be more consistent on the boards. But the other night, I think it was 55-42 was the rebounding edge for the Spurs. And of course, they've been doing a good job on the offensive glass. Good story today by Jeff McDonald about Jakob Poeltl being the top offensive rebounder in the league, and the Spurs able to get second chance points. And that always keeps a team in a game. Even if you're not shooting the ball well, if you're getting offensive rebounds, you're able to get those second chance points. Sometimes those result in a 3. So that's a real swing of the game. You think you got to stop, you don't grab the rebound, and somebody hits a 3 off a pass off an offensive rebound. That could really be a backbreaker, a big momentum changer. So I think that the fact that the Spurs hit the board so well the other night at 55-42, that's a good sign for the future. But they need to keep pounding the rock, as Pop always says, and make sure that they stay really busy on the boards.
Bill, a guy who's quite good at his hit a monumentous 3 last night in Madison Square Garden. It was pretty poetic. Gave the game or the record-breaking ball to his dad. Presented a couple of his teammates with engraved Rolexes after the game. Went on to say he is now okay with calling himself the greatest shooter of all time. Do you stand by that statement that Steph Curry now claims about himself?
Yeah, Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time. I think we saw that not only last night, but all throughout his amazing career. Remember, this is a guy that went to a small school, Davidson, and not a lot of people recruited him. Remember, he was a very kind of a smallish guy, still is kind of a smallish guy, but his range is incredible. And I've seen him in pregame warmups. I always make sure when we play the Warriors to get there a little bit early and watch him warm up because he tries things that other guys wouldn't try. Like a lot of times at the end of a warm-up, a guy will try a half-court shot or just inside half-court. He shoots those with regularity. I mean, he'll pull up and hit a 34-footer without even thinking about it. And that's his range. I think he's got the best range of any shooter. I thought it was ironic last night that Ray Allen was there, which was great because he broke Ray Allen's record. And also there, courtside, calling the game, was Reggie Miller, who Ray Allen had broken his record in 2011. So it's all, kind of coming into place here. But I think without a doubt, Steph is the best shooter in NBA history.
Amazing. What an amazing career and he's still at the height of his powers. It certainly seems that way. Talking with the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening. And Bill, before we get to dropping your latest tune, we do have a question for you from a listener/viewer on the live video feed. Axel J. Miller says, can you ask Bill if the Spurs have an identity yet? If we were going to say, Bill, what is the Spurs identity, how would you quantify that?
I think it's a young team that's hungry, and I think that they're going to continue to work hard. They're together. They realize it's a big picture type thing. They don't get too down after a loss. They don't get too up after a win. It's a young team that's coming together. And I think that, we preached patience in the very beginning of the year, Chris, with this ball club. And yeah, there have been some ups and downs, no question about it. But I think that when you see the potential of these young players and the fact you got some young veterans, and I talk about young veterans being 4, 5, 6 years in the league, guys like DeJounte Murray and Derek White, Lonnie Walker's now in his 4th season. He just turned 23 years of age. We have to remember that these are young guys that are coming together. And I really like what I've seen from this club. You know who I really like too, Chris? The play of Trey Jones lately. Trey had a sprained ankle that really kept him out of the preseason games in the early part of the regular season, and now he has really come on. He's healthy. He's very active at the defensive end. He was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year just a couple of years ago at Duke, and he's really become a part of that bench unit along with Drew Eubanks and Devin Vassell, and as we mentioned, Lonnie. So that second unit is coming on. So if you want to look for an identity for this young ball club, I think it's a young team that's coming together and that works hard.
Well, Bill, we are about to debut your new song, but given that it is the holiday season, was just curious if you've ever considered recording any holiday tunes, either classics or even a Spurs holiday-related tune that could become a classic and be played at AT&T Arena during this time of year.
No, I've never written a Christmas song, and I can't do it this year because I have a conflict, but we usually go out to the nursing homes. And there's a lot of restrictions right now when you go bring your guitar and sing at a nursing home. It's tough because those residents really want that kind of joyous time. And I had a conflict; I couldn't make it this year. But normally I do a German version of Stille Nacht, Heilige Nacht, Silent Night, Holy Night. And I love doing that. One time I did that a few years ago, and there was a lady crying in the front row. And I asked her why she was crying, and she said it reminded her of her childhood in Germany.
Wow.
Yeah, that was kind of emotional. So if I ever do a Christmas song, it will probably be Silent Night in German.
Wow. I love, Bill, that you go out to the nursing homes and sing Christmas carols and songs for people who are there. That's so cool. Quick thought, though, Bill. We were talking about this earlier. If you do go out on the road, Elvis had the Jordanaires. Gladys Knight had the Pips. Shannon, Dave Oehler, and I volunteer. We could be your background singers. We volunteer, and James Allen, our good friend and regular guest from the Pro Football Hall of Fame, said we could call ourselves Bill and the Shonettes. So Shannon, we'll be the Shonettes.
I had a friend of mine that wanted to be part of the Show Nuffs.
Show Nuff. Ooh, the Show Nuffs. I like that.
But I don't know, though. Bringing you on the road, Chris, I've heard stories about your road trips.
Yeah.
Out the windows at hotels. And,
Yeah.
You know, those wild days we were hanging out with Sly and the Family Stone. I remember those days.
I know. The 70s were kind of rough. We have one more band name I'll pass along to you. Steve Duraco says the band should be called Billy and the Stats. So we would be the Stats. That's kind of cool. That's not bad. All right.
Yeah, records in Memphis, you know, the old rhythm and blues soul label.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes, that's STAX, I believe. But it's not that.
Very cool. Well, Bill, as we get ready to play this song that you have just come out of the studio, it has just been produced and mixed. As you mentioned, originally created and written 7 years ago, but for people hearing it for the first time this morning on the radio, how would you introduce this song?
Real quick, in 2014, the Spurs went overseas and played in Berlin and then in Istanbul. And when I saw the roster for Fenerbahce Ultra, the team in Istanbul, I said, okay, I'm going to have to work on these names because obviously there's a lot of Serbians and Turkish players on the team. So the best way for me to remember the names was to put it in a little melody. And the melody kind of sounded like a little reggae beat. So I got out an acoustic guitar and kind of banged out a few chords, and I got some help from my guitar player buddy, Mike Boskins, who really helped me out. And this song sat for 7 years just dormant, you know, just me on an iPhone. Every once in a while I go back and listen to it. I got to go in the studio and record that. So finally, just a couple of days ago, we had a chance to go in there and do it justice and put some background music on it, and we had some fun with it.
And the title is Ballers from Istanbul. Is that correct?
That is correct. And one of the players mentioned in the song, Nemanja Bjelica, is now with the Golden State Warriors and had played some with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So he was actually on that Fenerbahce Ultra team in 2014 when the Spurs played them. But then, of course, a couple years later, he ended up going to the NBA.
Very, very cool. All right, let's do this on the radio, the radio debut on 2 radio stations, AM 1300 The Zone in Austin, Ticket 760 in San Antonio. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, Bill Schoening with his brand new song, Ballers from Istanbul.
Olay Mama Tolu is at Turkey Ilmaz, just to name a few. Luka Zoric, Berga Gerlu, Kenan Sapahi, he's good too. This is the best way I know how to say these foreign names when they commit a foul. Will touch Sir Hassatan, Sammy Erden, will it never end? Oh, Saba, Jan Vesletu, and El Tinting. Yeah, this is quite a crew. This is the best way I know how to say these foreign names when they commit a foul. Nemanja Bjelica, Malay Mama Tolu, is at Turkey Ilmaz, just to name a few. Luka Zoric, Berga Gerlu, Kenan Sapahi, he's good.
Yeah! Woo! Ballers from Istanbul. Bill Schoening, that was outstanding. Woo! It. I got to tell you, Bill, the production, the musical production was tremendous. Your voice sounds fantastic, and you're right. It does have a reggae feel to it. It's very, very cool. You got to eventually someday, Bill, track these players down and get them a copy of the song. I think they would love it.
Played for Washington Wizards for a while. Now he's still on at Fenerbahce Oker, and he's had a very good career. And there's another guy that was with the Spurs that is on that team now, Nando DeColo.
Oh, yeah.
Nando is now on that Fenerbahce Oker team, but of course, he was not at the time when we wrote the song back in 2014.
Well, Bill, I have my own copy of the song, but where can folks go to hear this and add it to their rotation and play it on repeat again and again and again?
Again and again. I don't know if many people are going to do that, Shannon. We just came out of the studio with it, so I haven't done anything with it. It'll probably eventually be on Amazon and Spotify, but we haven't shipped it out yet. I sent it to Chris, and he said, let's put it on. It's okay, fine. So probably early next year, I would think that we'll have that song out.
Well, and I know before your son Carl Schoening has created video to your music. It would be cool also to eventually get highlights of these guys and make a music video to the song. That'd be a fun thing for YouTube.
I like what you're doing there.
All right, I'm just saying. All right. Well, Bill Schoening, that was fantastic. Thank you for sharing Ballers from Istanbul with us tonight. Bill will have the call as the Spurs go for 7 out of 10 as they take on the Charlotte Hornets tonight at the AT&T Center. Tip off just after 7:30. That means Spurs Radio Game Night pregame show with Bill, 7 o'clock. 1200 WOAI and across the Spurs Radio Network. Bill Schoening, great fun, great song. We'll see you on the radio tonight. Absolutely. Thanks, Bill Schoening. Coming up, we will check the latest National Signing Day. Who else is coming to the Texas Longhorns, the UTSA Roadrunners, and who's making noise for the Aggies, Texas Tech, Baylor, and across the country. We will check trending stories across the world of sports coming up. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney, Dave Oehler making the show go with you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Yes. Woo! So, Dave, I don't know if you saw in the private chat, we will do the Steph Curry audio here in the next segment. Thanks, sir.
And you want to do the call and the
yeah. In fact, let's do a call first since it's in sequence that way, and then we'll go to his audio. And we'll introduce each one, but pretty quickly, one after the other. Yeah, that was me screwing up on his audio. The way this works, for you to hear Bill on the live feed, I have to turn my microphone off. When I turn my microphone on, you don't hear the feed in the studio. So that was my mistake. So James Allen, I'll probably text you, but tomorrow, 8:05. Tomorrow is Thursday, yes. So yeah, tomorrow. check out Dave Oehler's post on. Yeah, Dave Oehler always comes up with really funny Facebook posts. Oh, I know what I have to do. I got to send something out real quick. Where was I? Second, right?
Hey, Chris, Paul McCarthy's bass that he played on tour with Wings and in the studio for auction, $496,100.
My God, that's insane.
Bill Wyman's 1969 Fender Mustang bass sold for $384,000. And a Smash guitar that Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam smashed on stage in 2018 went for $266,200.
That's crazy. Who's got that kind of money, man, to spend on?
Almost $500,000 for a Paul McCartney bass.
Unbelievable.
And he didn't even play it when he was in the Beatles. It was when he was with Wings.
Yeah. Wow. This goes. Thanks, James. Yes. We will call you tomorrow, James Allen. If you're still here, thank you, sir. James Allen on the show tomorrow. Lots to talk about with James. Anthony Del Toro, how about some masked wolf astronaut in the ocean? Is that a band? And Jason, that's a great topic. And as we get closer to when that Sean Payton movie drops, we should do that. It was like, who should have been cast? We'll have to take that up. Who should have been cast as Sean Payton in that movie? Here we go.
It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Join in. Between 1-800-707-9760.
Little satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. Welcome in. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Lots and lots going on in the world of sports. This is National Signing Day, so we've had news there throughout the morning. We continue to keep an eye on that for you. Dave Oehler, your Soundscape stylist, making the show go. And Shannon, the big story of the night, last night, which continues to be a big story today. People will be talking about it on sports talk radio and sports television shows all day long, all night long. You brought it up with Bill Schoening. Steph Curry last night at Madison Square Garden with Ray Allen in the house, the man he surpassed for most three-point shots in NBA history, and the man in the number 3 position with the call on television for TNT, Reggie Miller, Steph Curry hitting the now NBA record for three-point shots. And we actually have audio of that shot last night. So first, let's listen to the shot that got the record for Steph Curry last night.
Alec Burks guarding it from the start. Wiggins again. Here's Curry for the record. It's good! There it is! Stephen Curry, the all-time three-point king of the NBA.
And I got to ask you, Shannon, in our lifetimes, do you think that record will ever be broken?
I don't know. Maybe just because the three-pointers become such a part of the game.
Yeah.
But also as it continues to be what it is, I think teams are going to learn a better way to control guys making shots from the perimeter, right? Because there's got to be a response to it. So yeah. I think if he keeps playing at the level he's been playing at, I don't know that it'll ever happen. He may have this one. I know records are meant to be broken, but this one might be sticking around for years and years to come.
He's such a prolific three-point shooter, and as we've mentioned with Bill Schoening a few minutes ago, he's still at the height of his power. So I mean, he's going to add to this for what? 5 more years, 6 more years, 7. I mean, who knows? So yeah, this record's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And even as the NBA has become more of a three-point shooting league, you know, will anybody ever shoot it at the frequency and at the success rate of a Steph Curry? And Shannon, you've been bringing up this morning as well, and we'll hear it here in a bit. Steph Curry now kind of proclaiming himself to have a title in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, he was, of course, asked about getting the title in the post-game presser, and now that he's got this monumentous achievement. And, you know, I kind of have to agree with him that he is the greatest shooter on earth because, it says it now. He is the best three-point shooter, and again, he did it in 511 games less than Ray Allen.
Yeah.
That part is, I mean, we need to highlight that part as much as the actual number of threes that this gentleman has made. But yeah, here's Steph on his new title post-game last night.
I think everybody talks about the greatest shooter ever and all that conversation, and my respect for Reggie and Ray, guys who set the bar for what it meant to be a sharpshooter, to have the longevity as well. And for me, I've tried to own that in my journey in terms of, range, volume, efficiency, all those things go into it. So I pride myself on shooting a high percentage. I pride myself on allowing that to help us win games. And now I can pride myself on the longevity of getting to that number that Ray set and hopefully pushing it to a number that nobody can reach. We'll see what happens. But that's something that the balance of volume and efficiency for me is the standard that I wanted to set. And I never want to call myself the greatest shooter until I got this record. So I'm comfortable saying that now.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing, Shannon, that we're witnessing this, because I think about NBA history and I think of the all-time greats in the NBA. Obviously, top of the pyramid, Michael Jordan. But, then in recent era, add LeBron James, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, then go back and add Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Bill Russell. I mean, I could go on with great names, and they were all great in their own right. George Gervin, for crying out loud, of the San Antonio Spurs. And for this guy, and I mean, you brought it up to Bill Schoening a few minutes ago. No argument from Bill. He said, yeah, he is the greatest shooter in NBA history. For this guy, of all the players who've built this game to what it is today, and he's still doing it. He did it last night. He made history last night. For us to still be watching the greatest shooter in NBA history, it's pretty darn special. And to me, it's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, I think he's a what I'm going to call a front of jersey guy. So often they always display the back of the jersey, right? That has the last name, that has the number, and okay, I know who that is. But you see a Warriors jersey of any kind, and they've changed quite a bit since he got to the league, right? They've changed their colors, they've kind of changed the logo around. Then Nike took over, and I was just reading an article that by the time Steph Curry ends his NBA career, there could be 60 different variations of his jersey alone. Wow. But any of those jerseys, you put a Warriors on the front or a Golden State on the front and the number 30 right there with it, you know whose that is. So he's going to be remembered forever. And again, I know, again, you're not a big fan of his, just in his, I guess, style, post making threes. Mm-hmm. But I just think he's a fun guy, and he's a guy that I can be happy for about this achievement, because every now and then somebody gets an achievement and you're like, oh, God, this guy again, like Tom Brady winning Super Bowls for me.
Come on now,
we get
it. If you will vow to open to the Tom Brady love, then I will vow to open to the Steph Curry love. I will say this about Steph Curry. And again, some of my problems, the chewing on the mouthpiece, the beating the chest, and some of the obscene gestures he's done on the court, I'm just had some problems with. But I did notice, you talk about all he's done and the jerseys, and kids loved him and still do. I would see, I guess because he's a smaller player, he's not a 7-footer. So when he's out there, he looks even smaller against taller NBA towers and players. So but young kids, 10-year-old boys and girls, wanted the Steph Curry jersey because there's something about him. To them, he's like a cuddly teddy bear. And there was that time already a number of years ago when he brought his daughter to the post-game press conference during the playoffs and the finals, and everybody fell in love with his daughter. And it was a very cool, tender girl dad moment when he brought his daughter out there. So a lot to love. I get it. And maybe part of it is a little Spurs bitterness in me, that a lot of this was at the expense of the Spurs, the rise of the Warriors. A few times they did it knocking off the Spurs on the way to their championships. So there's probably a little bit of that in my attitude towards Steph. But I do. I mean, just like Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, I must bow to his greatness. I must acknowledge his greatness. I have mad respect for what he has accomplished and continues to accomplish in the NBA. And you look at their record, they may win another one this year. I mean, a lot of people, when the year began, thought, oh, Lakers, they'll be good. Not so much. Clippers, not so much with Kawhi out. Bucks struggling out of the gate. Brooklyn Nets having all kinds of COVID issues. So in this magical year for Steph Curry, when he sets this 3-point record, they might just win another championship this year.
And I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that. I don't know why I'm okay with Steph doing it and Tom Brady not so much, but I'm okay with Steph doing it as he is the 3-point god, sir. 3-point
You
god.
can't like Draymond Green though, Mister. I want to kick you in between the legs when I shoot.
No,
dirty player Draymond. You can't
that.
like him. I don't like Draymond.
He's just riding the wave that is Steph Curry as his teammate.
True. I love Steve Kerr. I think Steve Kerr is way cool. Spurs roots there. Klay Thompson, very good and non-cocky player. So, yeah. All right. So, Shannon, are you going to continue to just be locked in all day long on National Signing Day just to see the names of new Texas Longhorns as they become available throughout the day?
Yeah. So right now, by my count, which that's, math, never my greatest subject, but by my count, it looks like Texas football has announced 21 signees on the day. So I'd say they're getting pretty close to wrapping it up. It usually all kind of happens pretty quickly in the morning. I believe Sark's presser is scheduled for mid-afternoon. It could change based on, how this day does go down, but hopefully I won't have to be, as you said, locked in all day into this. But it is an exciting time. It's still very new, this early signing period, right? I mean, Coach Traylor talked about it, how they, now they've got to multitask because they've got bowl games to prepare for. Texas, not so much. So all their efforts have been focused on this day, but it's an exciting time, and I'm excited for those kids who, some of them just send in the paper, others do the whole presentation. So it's a big day for a lot of kids and their families.
And I still find the early signing day weird. The fact that we have two of these now. You've got the one now today, and the other one's February.
Yep.
I just, and I mean, you look at college football as a whole. Texas, I mean UTSA. We usually expect Texas to have a bowl game or to be in the mix. If you are, in the college football playoff, as Jeff Traylor mentioned, all that multitasking you have to do. I don't know if I don't know if college football shouldn't get together, and obviously they have no commissioner, but I don't know if they shouldn't get together and say, hey, this should wait until after the bowl games. It's a little weird to me. I don't fully get it, why they do it the way they do it.
I mean, part of it is because these kids can enroll early, right? They can come into the spring semester and then they're able to play, spring ball and get in those reps early, which I think is great. But also, as someone who basically just sat there the second half of my senior year of high school, I would have liked the opportunity to just go to college early, to go ahead and start getting that over with, because what was I doing that to me is the strange part, is that they're just able to jump ship there.
As you mentioned, Jeff Traylor, I do want to mention this, UTSA hoping to make some big splashes. We did talk earlier about the quarterback that the UTSA Roadrunners got out of Austin. The Jeff Traylor special edition show of the Jeff Traylor Show tonight at the Sandbox, UTSA Boulevard, just adjacent to UTSA. Andy Everett and UTSA head football coach Jeff Traylor, 7:00 tonight. You can go there in person. I'm sure it'll be rocking with the bowl game coming up against San Diego State in the Frisco Bowl, but I'm sure they'll walk through all the signees today for UTSA as well. So 7:00 tonight, either in person and or on Ticket 760 out of San Antonio. If you're not in San Antonio, you can catch it on the iHeart Radio app. Dave Oehler, any final words of wisdom that you want to leave us with? You're with us tomorrow, so we got one more day with you before you do your other thing. Whatever that may be.
No, just that Steph Curry call that I think, and just the point that Shannon made is, did it 511 less games than that's like what, 4 seasons?
A lot. Yeah.
Wow.
Now part of it is that Steph plays in a different era than most of Ray Allen's career was. So there's a little bit of, but even before that,
still a lot of time.
It's an incredible achievement. Yeah. Here I am poo-pooing. You bring up a great stat. Well, it's a different era.
Oh, he doesn't shoot
You can't compare eras.
You try to shoot that many threes in a row, and you'll see what happens. In that short of time,
I think I'd miss a few of those. Yeah. Shannon Salty Sweeney, outstanding bonus today on the Salty Shakedown. We got a little more pole assassin and monkey excitement. So I'm always here for that. So thank you. Great job today. As
We'll have to see if
They add to the display.
Let us hope. Let us hope. Dave Oehler, spectacular as always, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill Schöning, we dropped his new song, Ballers from Istanbul. That was fun. Don't forget Spurs tonight versus Charlotte. Go Spurs, go. Win 7 out of 10.
10 seconds.
I will see you on the radio tonight with Bill Schöning. Spurs react after the game. For Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, and Dave Oehler, I'm Chris. Have yourself a great Wednesday. Adios, amigos. Woo! Woo, woo, woo. All right. I am out of here. Enjoy your Wednesday, National Signing Day. Go Spurs, go. Spurs win tonight, man. 7 out of 10. The Spurs are back. The Spurs are back. In Pop we trust. All right. Thank you, Ralph, Louisa, Jason, Frank, good morning. Anthony, 11 of you in here right now, so have yourself a great Wednesday. Spurs pregame show, 7 o'clock tonight on 1200 WOAI. We will run a video like this, as we always do. Spurs react after the game. Wherever you're getting this video right now, it'll be available there, but it's also tonight on 1200 WOAI's Facebook and Twitter pages. But wherever you're watching right now, you can get that as well. Usually on a 7:30 start, a little bit after 10 p.m., 10:15, somewhere in there. All right. Enjoy your Wednesday. See you tomorrow.